we can't wait for week 3 football either. It's time to dive into our week 3 previews and predictions. It was a wild week 2, fellas. I don't know if we're going to be able to replicate it because we had 4 victories in the division, and I know for a fact we can't replicate it because we do have an interdivisional battle this upcoming week. But before we touch on that, let's start in the 1 p.m. window, and let's start with what I think to be maybe the game of the day here, the divisional rematch between the Los Angeles Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. Both 2-0. The Eagles coming off of a W in the Super Bowl 59 rematch over the Kansas City Chiefs to send them to an unprecedented 0-2. We just talked about the Rams coming off that Titans win. They're 2-0. Rams are looking for revenge here. They lost to them twice last year. Could have had him late in the game in that blizzard in the divisional round, fell just short. They're looking to get it done this time around. So let's dive into it. Let's talk Eagles. Let's talk Rams. Brandon, I'll start with you. How do you view this one? A real heavyweight battle in the NFC. Who takes it and why?
Football's a matchup game, and sometimes there's good matchups, sometimes they're tougher matchups. And last year proved, I think, with this Rams-Eagles team that this is just not a good matchup for the way that this Rams team is designed. They can hit you where you're just a little bit vulnerable, and you're not vulnerable in a lot of places from a Rams perspective, but they've got the defensive line. They can get after that offensive line of the Rams. It's going to be a struggle to run the ball. Conversely, hurts his mobility and his ability to keep you playing honest in the run game. Saquon Barkley's a game-changing talent. Some of this I'm wondering a little bit about on the health of the Eagles offensive line in full and where that might fully be. But at the end of the day, I think I've got to give them the nod, as I just think that this is too good of a formula for what the Eagles have working here. And let's also face the fact they've added 2 more guys, as they always seem to do every single draft, and Jihad Campbell, and then we had the kid Andrew Makuba making a pick last year, a very talented safety there from Texas. They just always seem to be able to restock the stable a little bit every year, even when they have losses, which is just so impressive with Roseman. But I think that this game goes very similar to the games last year, where the run game ends up just being enough to kind of take off. Hurts makes just enough plays, and the Rams just aren't able to find quite enough consistency offensively to be able to stand with them on that. So I'll give the Eagles the nod on this one with like a 21-17 kind of game, 2020, something like that.
Yeah, I think the question is this matchup much like the Ravens and Bills, where no matter what, Derrick Henry's going to get loose and it makes that game really tough? Is Saquon Barkley that guy, or is it as simple as the Rams maybe had a good game plan, they just didn't have the pieces last year and now they do? That question's certainly going to be answered. Even if Saquon does get loose, the Rams were hanging around on the road in a blizzard. The Rams, I believe, from last year to this year, are a slightly better team. Devontae Adams was added to that. Poona Ford was added to that. I think their offensive line is reinforced. I just think that they are better than they were at this time last year. I think the Eagles, however, when they played in that NFC divisional game, I think the Eagles have taken a step back. They've lost a lot of players along that defensive line. The offensive line's a little bit banged up. And Jalen Hurts is a guy that, because of that Rams pass rush, they certainly can contain. It all comes down to Saquon Barkley. Can they hold him to something reasonable? 110 yards rushing. That's fine. He can get a little loose, but he's not breaking the 70-yarder. That's the big thing that they have to be able to avoid in this game. I don't like that Ahkello Witherspoon's not playing, because he's the perfect matchup for A.J. Brown. He's always played him really well. But I think that pass rush and the way that Jalen Hurts is playing right now, they're going to be able to contain that passing game. And I think the Rams are the team to do it. So I'm going to go 23-20 Rams.
It's Sweaty J.
Sweaty J.
Sweaty J.
Sweaty J.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, I mean, I think they, Brandon and, Jesse said a lot of points that I wanted to go ahead and reinforce. I don't know. Like, I look at this team and I know the Rams are going to be a playoff team. I don't think there's any debate on that. It's just, I look at the Eagles and I still see, I know they lost some pieces here and there, but I know I still got the Eagles winning this game. I really do. I think that the Saquon Barkley effect is going to continue to happen. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to go back to back with 100 yards receiving, or passing. It's just not going to happen. They're going to get a good game plan against them, but I think it's going to be a high scoring event. If I'm going to be real, I'm going to say 31-23 Eagles win this game.
Yeah, Jesse and I seem to be on the same page here. We were on the same page last week too. Didn't think the Rams were going to, blow out the Titans. I had 23-13. Jesse, I think you mentioned you forgot. You had 24-13. So once again, you have 23-20 Rams. I'm taking 24-21 Rams. I think the Rams are better than Philly right now. I mean, as Jesse perfectly explained, The Rams gave up all those yards to Saquon Barkley, and they were right there at the end in a blizzard. Matthew Stafford throwing over 300 yards. They were bullying Jalen Hurts like crazy. Well, guess what? The defense is way better than last year, considering that they focused on some key issues. The run game, going out and getting Poona Ford, going out and getting Nate Landman. Now, my biggest issue, as Jesse brought up, is no Ahkello Witherspoon, who held A.J. Brown to 5 yards, and we saw him just absolutely shut down Nico Collins in week 1. I think the Rams are going to win this game because I think their pass rush is going to get to Jalen Hurts. You see what Jordan Mailata does, and he's obviously insane, but he doesn't play well against Jared Verse. We know that. And you have other guys on that offensive line that I think are susceptible to getting beat by a Kobe Turner, beat by a Poona Ford, beat by a Braden Fisk. Byron Young is actually the hottest defensive player, I think, on the Rams right now. He just had an incredible game last week. He had a great game week 1. I think Byron Young taking that next step is what's going to make that Rams defense really tough.
Awesome. Let's move to the 4:05 window on Sunday. Man, these Saints, they're getting the NFC West treatment. They're getting the NFC West Roundtable, really, at the beginning of the season here, and it has not gone well for them. They are 0-2 to start. Could it be 0-3 against Seattle? And by the way, their reward after you beat them up here, Brandon, a date with my Buffalo Bills in Buffalo the week after. So give them all you got, Brando. I'm interested to see what you guys think is going to happen here for the third straight NFC West matchup for these Saints. It's in Seattle. They're 0-2. Seattle's 1-1. Who takes it here? I'll start with you, Jesse. Seahawks, Saints.
Yeah, I'll keep this short and sweet. The Saints are not a very good football team. If the 49ers second string players can roll in there and get a victory, then certainly they're not going to go to Seattle and get a win. Seattle's still trying to figure things out, but this is certainly a way to help them get going. They should be able to run that offense with full efficiency. I'm going to go 30-20 Seahawks.
Jesse has the Saints falling to 0-3, 3 consecutive losses to start the season to the NFC West. Jake, are you in alignment? You think the Seahawks win this one and move to 2-1?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is when Rattler kind of loses it. Now you're on the road. Now it's really going to be pressure mounting. These two teams have played each other, and we know what way it went in Seattle in the postseason. But all jokes aside, I think Sam Darnold gets things going again. I think we continue to see more from Kenneth Walker, Cooper Kupp, Torrey Horton, and of course JSN are able to do their thing. And as good as I think the Saints defense is, roster wise, because I do like this roster, I think Rattler, who's taking care of the football the last 2 weeks, is about to implode against this defense. I think McDonald is going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at him, and this is going to be just an old-fashioned beatdown, 30-13 Seattle.
Mike, your Cardinals took care of these Saints 2 weeks ago. Do you think there's going to be a similar fate for Brandon's Seahawks in week 3?
Yeah, I mean, I like to call it the tour of the NFC West. Unfortunately, the Saints have to go through, but I mean, it's going to be another, loss under their belt. They're going to start off 0-3. The Seahawks defense is just, when I look at that defense, they are a team that's going to be, pushing any team to go into the playoffs. So I truly believe that. So here we go. I have the Seahawks winning this game, 33-13 Seahawks.
Brandon, the fellas, they're confident in your Hawks. Are you confident in your Hawks to get it done against the Saints on Sunday?
Yeah, we're all going to be in the same place of this. You're running an offense that you got to see last week of what would work in the exact style of same offense, the way the Niners tried out against the Saints last week. So you're going to utilize, I'm sure, a lot of that type of stuff. You're a team that's just in a better state than they are. They're in a transitionatory state as a franchise. They're trying to get through it right now. They're coming to your house. You want this win. Still a question of which Seahawks team's going to show up, the week 1 team or the week 2 team that we kind of saw. And that's remains to be seen. But I do just think that that's also to where you can still show up like the week 1 team and still beat this Saints team. That's not a Niners team that you're going up against, even with their somewhat B team that they had that week. They were able to carry the day on. So I still think this is a win for us when it's all said and done. I think we get after them. I think our offense is able to consistently move the ball in the day. 30-17 Seahawks.
4:25 p.m. Eastern. It's the battle of Mike and Jesse. It's the battle of the Cardinals and the Niners in Santa Clara. Is there a bet on the line for this one? Or are we taking it easy this week, fellas?
No, stop it. No.
Come on, Mike. I think I don't know if he'd look as good as Brandon, but I think he'd look pretty good. And I know Jesse can rock a hat. He's got 1,000 of them, so I think we could have done it. But we're not going to do it. We're going to have somebody win this game now.
Coward!
We're down 3 cornerbacks. All right, chill.
Yeah, I mean, you're trotting out there without 3 cornerbacks. Jesse's Niners are banged up, so who knows what we see in this one, but we likely will see Mac Jones again, Jesse. I don't know. You tell me. We'll end up finding out later on in the week here. But Jake, I'm going to start with you. Cardinals' first divisional battle of the year, and it is on the road against San Francisco. Who takes it, the Niners or Arizona?
Yeah, I just keep going back and forth in this one, and I think it's going to be Mac Jones here starting for the 49ers. So I'm actually just going to stick with the home team here. I think it's a really close game, but I'm going to take the 49ers to win this, improve to 3-0. I just think that Drew Petzing's offense just needs to get going, and I just don't believe it's going to. I think, unfortunately, as good as the defense is, and as much as I like Arizona, they have 3 corners that are injured. I don't know if any of them are going to play in this game. I don't know who's going to play. So based off that, I just think that I trust the 49ers offense more than Arizona, and the 49ers put up more points than Arizona. I'm going to say they win 23-20.
Jake's got the Niners going 3-0. How about you, Brandon? As you sit there with sourdough Sam on the top of your head, you can't disappoint them. Are they getting it done, or are you going against the head? Are you going against the hat? Is it Cardinals that are going to get it done this Sunday?
I'm absolutely going against the hat. And it's not because I've had to wear this damn thing for the last hour. It's because I do think that there's a thing that Mac didn't have put on display last week against the Saints that's going to be on display this week, which is going to be that the pass rush and the pressure is going to be a lot more on his back. He's not particularly escapable. And one of the really underrated things Purdy gives you is that ability to get away when your offensive line has just been straight, flat beat. And that offensive line still last week at times had some shaky moments in there, but I think it'll be even more so against this Cardinals team. The cornerback thing does make me a little shaky on this. Like Jake, I've gone back and forth on this one just a little bit on where I land, but I'll take the 23-20 to the Cardinals, as much because they do tend to, the Niner defense, historically speaking, have some issues in dealing with some mobile quarterbacks, those hyper mobile quarterbacks, to where it can be like you won the play defensively, you had the right call, and they just got out and Kyler gets some crazy scramble and it's enough to kind of carry the day through.
Wow, Brandon. He's going with the Cardinals. I would keep one eye open tonight, Brandon. I could easily see that hat coming alive in the middle of the night, especially now that after you took the Cardinals. So just be safe tonight. I'm a little bit worried about you. I don't know who to be worried about here. I don't know whether to be worried about Mike. I don't know whether to be worried about Jesse. So I'm going to have to ask them. Are they worried about each other? I'll start here with you, Jesse. What are your thoughts on this game? Do the Niners get it done yet again to improve to 3-0 over their divisional foe?
Brandon looks like a furry with an identity crisis with that hat from the Cardinals. I do have to ask you, Mike, this is where the question comes in. I know it's Tuesday, so it's very hard to predict. Of those 3 players, is there any chance that any of them play?
There's a chance that at least 2 of them don't play. And if I would put my hat on, I probably would say Garrett Williams or nickel. It looked pretty bad when he had to be carted off. Max Melton was also carted off as well, but he did come out and celebrate with his team. Looked to be good spirits. He did have a sleeve on his knee, but he looked a little bit better. He was carted off too, but like it wasn't as bad as Garrett Williams. Will Johnson, on the other hand, he got hurt. He came back. I think the initial thing was that he got the win taken out of him, but he came back into the game, and then he got a groin injury, and then they pulled him out. So I think I would honestly say maybe at least 1 or 2 is not going to play for sure.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, listen, I do think Mac Jones is going to play again this week, and I think that it's going to be good enough. I think that the 49ers are going to be able to put up points, especially with the banged up secondary. Division games are always tough. Kyler Murray is also very tough to contain for the 49ers. He just always proves to be that. And Kyler Murray has made a conscious effort to run more. So that does worry me a little bit. I think at the end, though, the 49ers defense, a little bit healthier, is going to be able to contain a little bit better than what the Cardinals are going to be able to do. I think it's a little bit more high scoring, though. I'm going to go 27-24 Niners to get this done at home.
We could have an even split here if Mike goes with his Cards. Are you going to go with your Cardinals this upcoming Sunday? Mike, talk to me. 4:00 afternoon game. It's a big one for your Cardinals. We have to see what they have, right? First 2 games, I don't know if we're entirely sure. It's their first major test. How do they fare against the Niners?
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect anything different from the Arizona Cardinals starting off the season hot, right? I mean, usually that's what we do. We start off the season hot, and we unfortunately can't finish. Hopefully that changes this year. But I mean, I feel like I would look at this game differently if we saw Kittle, if we saw Ayuk, if we saw Purdy. Now, I'm not going to come out here and say Mac Jones is terrible or like that. I mean, he did a really good job against the Saints, so you got to give kudos where kudos is due. But I don't know. I really do like this matchup here with the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. I always feel like it's some sort of very physical, gritty game. And you never know, man. You really never know what's going to happen at the end of the day. It just depends on the turnover battles, what happens on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like this is when Kyler Murray really shines the brightest, when he's playing competition, when he's playing outside State Farm Stadium, because believe it or not, the Cardinals are better outside their stadium, and playing in a way. And why not do it in beautiful, Santa Clara over there? So I don't know. I do feel like the Arizona Cardinals are going to pull this off. Am I worried about the cornerbacks? I am, right? But also at the other side of the coin, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game because it's a division game. I would say the Cardinals do win. I would say 33-30. Arizona Cardinals win. I think James Conner finally gets it right. I think the passing game finally gets it right. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have a touchdown. Trey McBride's going to get his first touchdown of the year, and I feel like it's going to be really good for the Cardinals. I say Cardinals 33-30.